This is TechCrunch.
The Pew Research Center released a study on Tuesday that shows how young people are using both social media and AI chatbots. Teen internet safety has remained a global hot topic, with Australia planning to enforce a social media ban for those under the age of 16 starting on Wednesday. The impact of social media on teen mental health has been extensively debated. Some studies show how online communities can improve mental health, while other research shows the adverse effects of doom scrolling or spending too much time online. The U.S. Surgeon General even called for social media platforms to put warning labels on their products last year. Pew found that 97% of teens use the internet daily, with about 40% of respondents saying they are almost constantly online. While this marks a decrease from last year's 46%, it's significantly higher than the results from a decade ago, when 24% of teens said they were online almost constantly. But as the prevalence of AI chatbots grows in the US, this technology has become yet another factor in the internet's impact on American youth. About 3 in 10 US teens are using AI chatbots every day, the Pew study reveals, with 4% saying they use them almost constantly. 59% of teens say they use ChatGPT, which is more than twice as popular as the next two most used chatbots, Google's Gemini and Meta AI. 46% of US teens say that they use AI chatbots at least several times a week, while 36% report not using AI chatbots at all. Pew's research also details how race, age, and class impact teen chatbot use. About 68% of Black and Hispanic teens surveyed said they use chatbots, compared to 58% of white respondents. In particular, Black teens were about twice as likely to use Gemini and Meta AI as white teens. Pew Research Associate Michelle Faverio told TechCrunch the racial and ethnic differences in teen chatbot use were striking, but it's tough to speculate about the reasons behind those differences. This pattern is consistent with other racial and ethnic differences we've seen in teen technology use. Black and Hispanic teens are more likely than white teens to say they're on certain social media sites, such as TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Across all internet use, Black and Hispanic teens were around twice as likely as white teens to say that they are online almost constantly. Older teens, in the 15 to 17-year-old range, tend to use both social media and AI chatbots more often than 13 and 14-year-olds. When it comes to household income, about 62% of teens living in households making more than $75,000 per year said they use ChatGPT, compared to 52% of teens below that threshold. But Character.ai usage is twice as popular in homes with annual incomes below $75,000. While teenagers may start out using these tools for basic questions or homework help, their relationship to AI chatbots can become addictive and potentially harmful. The families of at least 2 teens, Adam Rain and Amori Lacey, have sued ChatGPT maker OpenAI for its alleged role in their children's suicides. In both cases, ChatGPT gave the teenagers detailed instructions on how to hang themselves, which were tragically effective. OpenAI claims it should not be held liable for Rain's death because the 16-year-old allegedly circumvented ChatGPT's safety features and thus violated the chatbot's terms of service. The company has yet to respond to the Lacey family's complaint. Character.ai, an AI role-playing platform, is also facing scrutiny for its impact on teen mental health. At least 2 teenagers died by suicide after having prolonged conversations with AI chatbots. The startup ended up making the decision to stop offering its chatbots to minors, and instead launched a product called Stories for underage users that more closely resembles a choose-your-own-adventure game. The experiences reflected in the lawsuits against these companies make up a small percentage of all interactions that happen on ChatGPT or Character AI. In many cases, conversations with chatbots can be incredibly benign. According to OpenAI's data, less than 0.25% of ChatGPT's active users have conversations about suicide each week, but on a platform with 800 million weekly active users, that small percentage reflects over 1 million people who discuss suicide with the chatbot per week. Dr. Nina Vasan, a psychiatrist and director of Brainstorm, the Stanford Lab for Mental Health Innovation, told TechCrunch, even if tools weren't designed for emotional support, people are using them in that way, and that means companies do have a responsibility to adjust their models to be solving for user well-being. Anysphere, the company that makes AI coding assistant darling Cursor, isn't thinking about an IPO anytime soon. At least that's what its co-founder CEO Michael Truell said on stage Monday at Fortune's AI brainstorming conference. After reaching $1 billion in annualized revenue in November and raising $2.3 billion at a $29.3 billion valuation last month, Truell said his company is instead focused on building out more features. For instance, he noted that Cursor's homegrown LLMs were geared to support specific products. Cursor also confirmed the existence of those models in November when it touted, "Our in-house models now generate more code than almost any other LLMs in the world." His comments about the models came up when the founder was asked how he plans to compete with the LLM makers that he relies on when the major ones like OpenAI and Anthropic have their own AI coding offerings. Truell likened their coding products to a concept car, whereas his product is a production automobile, saying, "It would be like taking an engine and a concept car around it instead of a whole end-to-end car that was manufactured." What we do is we take the best intelligence that the market has to offer from many different providers. And we also do our own product-specific models in places. We take that, we build it together and integrate it, then also build the best tool and NUX for working with AI. Cursor's dependence on its competitors and its need to build its own LLMs has been a subject of speculation among VCs in Silicon Valley since earlier this year, when OpenAI reportedly looked at Anysphere as an acquisition target. Anysphere turned the idea down. This was around the same time that Windsurf's OpenAI deal also didn't materialize, with the founder eventually joining Google. The issue, investors told TechCrunch, was that AI coding editors were losing money thanks to high costs they paid to the model makers. In Cursor's case, instead of selling, it adjusted pricing to a usage model in July, directly passing along the API fees that model makers charge to its users. This change from an all-inclusive subscription fee, and the surprise big bills some customers faced, caused an uproar among some of its users. On Monday, when asked about the pricing kerfuffle, Truell said, "When we started Cursor, you would turn to Cursor for a quick JavaScript question, and now you're turning to it to do hours of work for you. So the pricing model had to shift for us and others in the space. That means shifting more towards a consumption model." Truell added that one of the tools the company is working on is cloud computing-like cost management tools, which lets enterprises monitor their total usage and keep tabs on the bills their engineers are running up. "We have a whole team internally dedicated to enterprise engineering and building things like spend controls and billing groups and visibility." Additionally, he said Cursor is focused on two major areas for the next year. One is handling more complex agentic functions. "We want you to take end-to-end tasks, ones that are concise to specify but then are really hard to do, and have them entirely be done by Cursor. An example is a bug fix." He particularly wants Cursor to be able to fix the kinds of bugs that might be easy to describe but take weeks of someone's time, thousands of times running the code, to handle. He said, "We want Cursor to do that, end to end." The other area he named but didn't explain with much detail was the idea of thinking about teams as the atomic unit that they serve. This must be in contrast to serving individual coders, and a hint to how well its enterprise business is going. In addition to cost monitoring features, Truell said he wants Cursor to handle more parts of the software development lifecycle outside of writing code. He pointed to Cursor's code review product as an example, which he said is being used by some customers to analyze every pull request, be it written by AI or human. To clarify, a pull request is when a programmer submits code for review before it is merged into the main project. Meanwhile, big competitors are also all gearing up for the complex task agentic world. Amazon just released a coding tool it promises can already run for days on end. Just this week, the AI power players, including Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft, AWS, and many others, launched a new consortium under the Linux Foundation to develop open-source agentic interoperability standards. They even contributed to some of their key projects, like Anthropic's wildly popular Model Context Protocol. His plans for the year likely won't put Anysphere firmly ahead of Cursor's main model maker competitors. They should, however, keep the company in the race. That's it from TechCrunch. For more stories like this one, go to TechCrunch.com.